God isn't necessarily making you wait or drawing out a process because he's developing patience in you. The reason why God is drawing out the process of whatever it is that you think that you want, whatever it is that you think that you desire, is because eventually in that waiting season, the desire is going to be purged from you. Maturity will change your appetite for certain things. And you will, when you're in the beginning of this process, you will feel like, oh my gosh, when is it going to happen, God? I've been working so hard. I've been waiting so long. And then before you know it, as time goes on, you will realize you step into a particular space. Say it was someone that you really wanted to rub shoulders with, someone that you wanted to network with. There's going to come a time where you step into that season. God finally puts you in that room. And this is the essence of God's timing. God will only do it. He will only put you in that room when you're ready. And we think that we're going to be ready in a performative sense. I'm going to have the talent. I'm going to have the experience. But God, the way that he gauges our readiness is our spiritual maturity. By the time God starts to plant you in those rooms, by the time God gives you proximity to that network that you're like, wow, I just need to get around these people and then they can put me in position. Once God is like, okay, you're ready now. Once he puts you in those opportunities, once he puts you in those rooms and in those circles, you will realize you don't even have a desire for it anymore. You're going to realize, wow, this isn't all that it was cracked up to be. And that's the way that God works. And this is why, as a believer, we have to understand that, yes, God will give us desires of our heart when it's in alignment with who God is going to develop us into. Because see, the missing component in seasons that we feel like are delayed or are prolonged, the missing development is maturity. It's not that God's taking a long time. It's that we're not who we need to be before we get to that point. God needs to make sure that you are spiritually developed before he exposes you to that particular thing. Because when you're spiritually developed, you will see a situation for what it actually is, not what you want it to be. God will wait until you're able to see beyond the facade. You will be able to see beyond the smoke and mirrors. Because as long as you're operating with rose-colored lenses, you're actually operating in ignorance. And you can easily begin to operate in desperation. And God is so good that before he allows you to get in deep into a situation to where it will become a regret for you in the long run, he will just have you wait it out until you develop into something else. And you'll be like, wow, the only difference is, because I've been working hard, I've been doing the same thing. The only difference is I'm a completely different person now. My desire for things looks completely different now. I used to desire this 5 years ago. I don't desire this now. And it's crazy to think that I even desired it in the past. So God will give us the desires of our heart when it's constructive to our well-being and to our purpose. But there are other situations where God isn't giving us our desires because it's not up to par. It's not up to par with what God has for us and where God is taking us, what he's calling us to build. I want to read scripture. And it's going to be in Romans 12, starting at verse 2. It reads, do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The next scripture that I want to read is Ephesians 4:22. Well, starting at verse 22. You were taught with regard to your former way of life, to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. That scripture is powerful because what it's teaching us is sometimes it's not even a matter of God waiting on us to do something. Because by the book, you're doing everything right. You're doing it the exact way that society tells you to do. You're dotting your I's, you're crossing all of your T's, but you're still not seeing any results. You're not yielding any results. And it's because you're not who you need to be yet. Because once you become that person, once you get rid of your former self and you allow for God to put on new garments, you let God put on new garments for you. You let God give you a new identity. You will realize that the desires go with the old garments. The desires that you had in that previous season, it's in the same package as the old garments. So it's not a matter of God waiting on you to do something different or waiting on you to make a move. Sometimes it's a matter of God waiting on you to become someone. And in order for you to become the new thing, the new creation that God has made you into, you have to get rid of the old you.